"Oh, what's your new striker all about?" I said, "What do you mean?" She went, "Well, he's addicted to sugar, isn't he? He's just put 6 sugars in his tea." I went, "You're joking." It was only a little cup like that, little plastic cup. Anyway, so I walked into him and said, "Oi, Johnson, what are you doing putting 6 sugars in your tea?" He went, "No, you're joking." Like, he believed that the CCTV had been tapped in by MI6 and spotted him.
This is the Sack Races Managers at Home, episode 3, and we're delighted to be joined by the Bristol City gaffer, Lee Johnson. Lee, how are your family doing, mate?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. First and foremost, thanks for inviting me on for this chat. Looking forward to it. But yeah, we're coping pretty well. My daughter's in the next room currently working on a geography homework, and my wife's probably watching Netflix. And yeah, we tend to separate ourselves and have one room each.
And your dad's the Talkie Manager. How's he getting on? Is he doing all these Zoom calls and doing it with technology all right?
Yeah, he's doing well, actually. He was very vigilant from the start. You know, maybe I was a little bit blasé at the start of all this in terms of thinking it would be all right. But he obviously had a triple heart bypass previously, so I think he quickly understood he was potentially a vulnerable, but and stayed away and stayed isolated. So he's done well, and it's probably I think he was potentially thinking about his next years and whether retirement was a good thing. And I think now he's realised, and certainly my mum's realised, that no, he's got to go back to work. He spent too long in the house.
Brilliant. We'll crack on and we'll talk about football at the moment. And I wanted to start it off with Bristol City. How has this crisis kind of affected the club?
Yeah, I think it's been tough. Like, make no mistake, it's been tough for everybody. Obviously, it's been made public about the staff having been furloughed and cuts that have been made and players' deferrals. But to be fair, I think that the trust is in the club and the people in the club that everything that we've been asked to do, we've done. And that's because the relationships and the rapport has been built up so well, if you like, from very good people right at the top that run the club. So people are more than happy to help because we understand that there's a sustainable model that we're working towards, not just for the future of the football club, but also the expansions of the business and certainly the community projects that go on. And there's some great projects and charitable causes that benefit from the association with the football club and the Bristol Sport model.
That's what I was going to ask. We've seen some great work that the Bristol City Robbins Foundation have done. And we've seen some of the coaches doing sort of staying active videos on social media. Could you tell us a bit about what the club have done and how, if you and the players have done anything to give back to the community?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously difficult because we're also being told to isolate, you know, and naturally you want to be out there, you know what I mean, knocking on people's doors and cheering people up like I've done in the past, selling season tickets. And at Barnsley, I remember we had a campaign with that. But what we have been doing is certainly on the phone. We've been speaking to particularly, I won't say our older, I'll say our more experienced supporters, and checking in on them, making sure they're all right, wishing them happy birthday. Certainly, like, I don't know if you would have seen it, but we gave away the lottery winnings of 12,000, and a guy, Rob Fernandez, instantly donated half back to the Bristol homeless and half back to the NHS, which was an amazing moment, really. He didn't know he was being videoed and was off the cuff. We've had volunteers in terms of our staff that have been delivering food to the sort of to the lonely and the vulnerable. We've, as a footballing staff, donated decent amounts of cash and food to the local food banks as well. And I think that's been like quite a sort of humbling, heartwarming story. And then, of course, we've got our charities that we support throughout the year, like the Children's Hospice Southwest and obviously the community scheme. So there's been a lot of people sacrifice a lot in terms of time, energy and money, but also people know that we're there for them on a human level as well, if need be. And if we can brighten up someone's day by a little phone call or a video message, we'd be more than happy to do that as well.
Yeah, top work. And we're all doing this to protect our NHS, who's doing a brilliant job. We really appreciate them. Am I right in saying that you've got a bit of first-hand experience working with the NHS? And if so, could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like it wasn't just the NHS. This was 2 or 3 years ago while I was working through my pro license. You have to produce case studies on a particular theme. So my theme was thinking correctly under pressure, and obviously you have the technical area that all men can become different beasts in that 1 hour and 30 minutes plus at injury time in that spell, and that's because there's a lot of tension. Like obviously you've got the crowd, you've got the performance levels of the players, you've got bad refereeing decisions or good ones, and it's almost like a strange little battle that goes on. So therefore I think a really important part of a manager's job is thinking correctly under pressure, and no better than that accident and emergency ward in decisions that are actually life or death. I also done it with the SAS that was based on communication. I've been into Michelin star chef and a restaurant, which is very interesting in Bristol, Casamia. So that was good. And we've had sort of close hand talks with military and Red Arrows. So like for me, there's a whole range of topic, but that particular one was thinking correctly under pressure.
Bit about the football now. I thought you guys were having a pretty decent season, only 1 point off the playoffs. Did you think that you had enough in the tank to improve on last year and make the playoffs?
Yeah, I believe we can. I think we're a good side. I think we've had our issues this year. There's no doubt in that. When big players are sold, naturally it takes a percentage out of the quality or the cohesion in the team, and I think that that's our challenge. And we've had big players come out for a number of reasons. It's not just sales; it's like injuries, like the likes of Benica Phobie and Thomas Callas and Jayla Silva missing half a season. These are really top players at our level. So, for me, like actually, I've got to use this period to reflect, to look back on what's gone well, what's not gone well, but really define the 4 weeks that we've got really to build that cohesive team unit even more. And listen, we are cohesive, but at the same time, I know we're not at our 100% yet due to probably the team being completely different to what I imagined it would be in the summer. 9 games towards the end of the season. I think a good example is throughout our partnerships in the Fulham game, which was the two centre halves, right back, right midfield, left back, left midfield, two centre mids and two strikers. Each of those pairings had played less than 6 games together. And that's with 9 games to go. So this is the challenge. This is why we accept the challenge, if you like, as coaches to try and really deliver your philosophy in that quick fire pre-season type spell. And this is going to be a challenge because it's going to be very different in terms of we have to couple individual coaching with unit work and, of course, the team structure in the last 10 days, couple of weeks.
Am I right in saying that you introduced the drones to the training ground? And if so, have you been using them to spy on any of the players, make sure they're behaving themselves?
Well, we can do a lot now with modern technology, that's for sure. So, yeah, I certainly wouldn't. I remember a funny story about that. I remember Johnson Clark Harris that we signed when I was at Oldham from a little scallywag as he was at that point, and but a real talent. And I really wanted to sort of like guide him and nurture him. And I managed to convince him that falsely that my uncle was in MI6. And he went for his medical. I said, listen, he can zoom in on you from all over the world, straight in your back garden, tap your phones, everything that you do, I'm going to know about it. Anyway, so he went in to have his medical, and I was following him about 5 minutes later. And the lady in the reception, the medical, said, "What's Striker all about?" I said, "What do you mean?" She went, "Well, he's addicted to sugar, isn't he? He's just put 6 sugars in his tea." I went, "You're joking." It was only a little cup like that, little plastic cup. Anyway, so I walked into him and said, "Oi, Johnson, what are you doing putting 6 sugars in your tea?" He went, "No, you're joking." Like he believed that the CCTV had been tapped in by MI6 and spotted him putting 6 sugars in the tea. So, like, I think that technology is good, but sometimes the threat of technology is even better. But I think with this group, there's no need to chase them with drones just yet.
Love it. This period of time, have you used it to hone any of your specific, I don't know, any aspects of management that you want to improve on?
Yeah, I don't think you ever stop improving. Like I've got that thirst for knowledge. I mean, it's something that drives me. I'm not finished in terms of my career and Bristol City, and like we want to bring as much knowledge and innovation to the football club, whether that's through software or technological gadgets and gizmo, or just old-fashioned football methodology. And we're permanently trying to push the boundaries, and I think that's been the success of the football club in, over the last 4 or 5 years. How many areas that's the collective and the people that have worked for the football club have drove it forward, whether that be academy, facilities, like finances, crowds coming in. You know what I mean? There's big increase in crowds. Like I say, community. Communication and balance with coming to watch the games, but also improving kids and giving them opportunities in all sports, not just football.
And you were thrusted into management 7 years ago, and you haven't stopped since. Have you used this time to reflect on your kind of achievements and what you've done so far?
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie, it has been nice, if you like, to sort of jump off that hamster wheel. And reflect, look back at it, and I've done a lot of webinars and for the FA and the PFA for young coaches that are coming through, and I've enjoyed that as well because it enables you to give a little bit back with your experiences. But yeah, I mean, look, I love it. I love the day-to-day battle, if you like, of being a coach and being a manager. The team building process is one that really excites me. I don't like losing, and therefore there is a drive to win. And to win, you've got to be the best. You've got to be the best in every field: recruitment, coaching, communication. And that's something that I can use this time to try and, like I say, genuinely assess where I am and where my staff are, and as a football club, and try and drive that forward when we return.
Have you had a chance to look back at that famous win against Man United?
No, don't look back, mate. You can't look back. I'll have plenty of years in retirement to look back. At the moment, it's all about driving forward.
And have you spoke to any other managers during this time? If so, who and what have you been speaking about?
I spoke to, a fair few, to be honest. Like you have the regulars that sort of we chat to, and coaches and managers, like Darren Way, the old Yeovil manager, one of my best pals, and speak to Danny Cowley on a fair bit. Cooper at Swansea, Harris at Cardiff. We've had sort of semi-regular chats, and then obviously then you move into the top end managers and coaches, and those conversations tend to stay private, and that's the right thing to do. But it's been nice. It's been nice to be able to just catch up with people, that normally you wouldn't get a chance to do, and to pick the brains of the footballing elite is something for me that I'm very grateful for, and very proud to have made those really contacts, considering they're good people as well.
Last one, we asked about if you had to be stuck with 3 managers, past or present, in isolation, who would they be and why?
Cool. I would Kenny Dalglish without doubt, because unbelievable fella, unbelievable leader, and obviously he's just somebody I like a lot. Pep Guardiola, for sure, because I just think the modern day chat would be amazing. Obviously, I've had that half time and end of the games when we played Man City, and that was good. So I'd like to continue that. If I could bring somebody back to life, it'd probably be Johan Cruyff, because I think he was a pioneer, if you like, of the game and the way he thought about football. And that'd be interesting to understand his thought process.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Lee. It's been great. We wish you and your family well, and hopefully we get to see Bristol City playing again soon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for inviting me and best of luck. Cheers.